We love spending this time with you. Thank you for listening. If you would like to take your listening experience to the next level, did you know there's a way to do that, J-Bo?
I do.
Yep, you know how you do it. You go to thetjshow.com, you sign up for the TJ Show newsletter, and you get cool things dropped right into your inbox, like the TJ Show's 10 shares. We pick 10 different things, everyone on the team does it, that we think you're going to love. It's not just about our show. This is about like stuff, music we're listening to, whatever it may be.
Like life stuff. That's
just the tip of the iceberg. There's a whole lot more in there. Sign up at thetjshow.com. This is the TJ Show. J-Bo, I have a slight, I don't know if it's a problem that's developing in my home or more of an annoyance.
All right, what's going on, TJ?
Well, it seems my kids, they've all become huge supporters of Kenny.
They love Kenny, yeah.
I know, but it's now coming up all the time. Like, they bring things up about Kenny almost constantly.
It's probably annoying for you because you work with the man and now you have to go home and listen and hear about the man.
Well, no, it's like in this particular, I have two examples of this where I have evidence of what's going on. The first one I actually think is dangerous because Kenny likes to brag a lot, and then the kids hear that on the radio, and they think they can do the things that Kenny says he can do. So Kenny mentioned the other day that he can hold his breath for 2 minutes underwater.
I knew that was going to go wrong. Yeah. I knew that was going to go wrong.
And it's the last thing my kids need to hear, so I immediately sprung into action on this. Hey guys, Charlie, what did you just say you wish you could do? By the way, we were out to dinner enjoying a pizza, and this is what I'm talking about.
Hold my breath as long as Kenny.
She wants to hold her breath for as long as Kenny.
Oh, no.
Okay, just for the record, guys, can I clear something up?
Yeah.
That is an exaggeration. People don't...
How come he said it on the radio?
What?
How come he said it on the radio?
See, and this is where they start defending him.
Because we make things up sometimes, okay?
Well, Kenny does. I don't.
Well, I'll prove it.
Please.
I can't explain Kenny at all. There's no way he can hold his breath for 2 minutes. Too dangerous.
Yes, you can. Maybe he's a merman.
He's not a merman.
How do you know that? Have you ever seen his bare legs?
He wears shorts all the time.
I wear pants all the time. We're kind of similar because he wears shorts all the time.
No, actually, you're completely opposite.
Yeah, my middle daughter insists on wearing long pants all the time because she doesn't want a bee to sting her. But Kenny does the opposite of that. And it's like they recklessly try to defend this guy.
Oh, man.
No. What if his bare legs were pants that looked like bare legs, and then he had a mermaid tail underneath?
He is not a merman.
Okay, so and that's not all. My parents were visiting, and somehow the subject of golf comes up, and my kids start bragging on behalf of Kenny. I don't even know where they got this from.
You're thinking about Scotty Scheffler.
So this is my dad talking about golfers, which is something he's done for as long as I can remember. Tiger Woods.
That's golf.
Who's Scotty Scheffler?
He's the #1 golfer in the world.
Oh, no, there's better golfers, like Kenny.
Like Kenny?
Yeah, Kenny.
Kenny plays golf?
Yeah, he brings spare golf clubs around in his car. Didn't you hear that episode of the radio?
No.
Kenny, I guess, mentioned in passing that he keeps golf clubs in his car, and my kids just clung on to that and assumed that must mean he's an amazing golfer. And so out of nowhere, this comes up.
Do you think he could beat Scotty Scheffler?
Probably.
Wow.
Kenny can do it all. He's probably the best bowler I know, too.
Really?
And see, it doesn't
This
stop.
girl has never seen Kenny bowl nor play golf. She has no idea who Scotty Scheffler is, but she thinks that Kenny is better than him. Get out of here,
I told
kid.
you, it's reckless.
No.
Yes, producer Heather.
I do think Kenny has more felonies than Scotty Scheffler, so I think he's up there.
That's not true at all.
He carries 3 bowling balls in his car.
Wow, that's very impressive.
Just in case somebody challenges him to a game. He's always ready. Gotta be prepared.
That's it, you have to be.
Yeah, and most kids are like big fans of Taylor Swift. No, my kids like Kenny.
Your dad is laughing because he's thinking, this is nonsense. This is complete nonsense.
Yeah.
Well, I will say for the record that there's no way I could beat Scotty Scheffler in golf, but I might be able to beat him in bowling.
Well, what a humble man. I'm still recovering from what I would consider an attack yesterday.
Oh, dude, I'm sorry.
It all happened in my kitchen. You really got to be careful what you say to my wife.
She's feisty, that one.
Well,
huh?
she bought a package of Milano cookies. You know, the ones like the 2 wafers on the outside, the chocolate layer on the inside.
Oh, yeah.
And I saw her eating those, and we usually don't have those in our house. And I said, oh, what was the occasion? Are those on sale? And she goes, no, it reminds me of my childhood. I used to eat these with my grandparents.
Aww.
And I thought, oh, look at you, Miss Nostalgia.
so
Feeling
cute.
nostalgic. And I started doing this little dance. Look at Miss Nostalgia.
Oh, you were taunting?
And she came over and tickled me so hard I almost threw up. And I still feel it in my stomach. And so I had to pay a price for being annoying.
Childish? Yeah.
Annoying,
Well,
yeah.
you're being childish, and she figured a child likes tickles, so let me go ahead and give him some tickles.
I hated tickles ever since I was a little kid. We don't want to annoy our spouses. That was the public service announcement I was getting to.
Right.
Jabo, what's happening in your world today?
When you have a craving for something, like for example, let's say if you're craving, I don't know, a Frosty from Wendy's, but then you go and you're like, oh, but I kind of want chicken tenders as well, but you don't want chicken tenders from there. I don't know about you, but I always have fun going from like one place to the other and making my own combo.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like this way you're not disappointed. You're not just like settling for something you don't want.
Oh, Jabo, I feel you. Have you ever done a bang bang? Do you know what that is?
No, what's a bang bang?
Where you eat 2 meals in a row. So you go to one place, then you go to another place.
Oof, that sounds full.
By the way, now you're mentioning cravings, and I'm thinking about those cookies. Do you guys have like a nostalgic cookie that brings you back to your childhood? Because now that I brought that story up, I just thought of ones that I haven't had for years. It was the Stella D'Oro cookies. It's got like the little chocolate fudge spot in the middle. I just looked them up. I was curious. I don't know who was thinking about my nutrition as a child, but the back of this package is concerning to adult TJ.
Come on.
I wouldn't let my kids eat this, although I'm kind of craving one because they are so delicious. Complicated feelings.
So you may find yourself eating one soon.
What was your cookie growing up? Did you have one?
It was the is it Keebler Elves with the chocolates
the
drizzle on
fudge
top?
stripes?
Oh,
Is it
fudge stripes.
Yes, fudge
Oh,
stripes.
yeah. Do they still exist?
Man. Yeah, they still exist.
Oh,
yeah.
good for you.
Yeah.
Kenny?
The mugs hit.
I used to take the chewy Chips Ahoy and put them in the microwave. I haven't done that since I was a kid. Have you ever done that?
Did it get them? Well, they're soft already.
They're
but
soft already, but 15 seconds in the microwave make them chef's kiss.
Could you have taken the hard ones, like in the blue container, and put those in the microwave? Would that work?
I don't think they would make them soft.
Yeah.
Just hot.
I don't know why I never thought of that as a kid. I was always annoyed that anyone would buy the hard one, but the chewy were like far superior.
That's so funny. My husband Archie and I, we get into it every time we go to the grocery store and we buy chocolate chip cookies. I like the hard ones with the chocolate chunks.
Really?
He likes the chewy ones. And every time, I always like, fine, just get the chewy ones. I'm the one that has to like always bow down.
Jabo.
And then he goes, no, it's fine. We can get the hard ones. And I'm like, no, just stop the madness. Get the chewies. Let's just go home.
I didn't know that you were into they're stale. You like the stale ones?
They're not stale. The chewy ones remind me of something that's been molded and sitting out for a long time. That's what it reminds me
No,
of.
the chewy
And the
one-
reason why we don't get both is because Lord knows I can eat a whole entire thing by myself of those cookies and I don't need to.
But hold on, the chewy ones are like so perfect. They somehow preserve the way they should be when they get right out of the oven. I'm really surprised to
It's
hear that.
weird. I feel like chewy stuff is when I don't have teeth, and right now I have teeth.
Okay.
And I'm putting them to work.
Yeah, but you're not going to have them for long with those hard cookies. They're like little cinder blocks.
Okay.
Yes, producer Heather.
I'm surprised nobody brought up Dunkaroos. Hello, the best.
Oh, yeah, that's amazing.
Dunkaroos.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Why are we talking about this? I don't want to eat this
I
stuff.
feel my sugar going up just talking about it.
Is this the right or the wrong thing to do? Camera guy Josh was out to dinner with his wife. Tell me about what happened with the waiter that you had.
Well, at this restaurant, which I've been going to my entire life, like I love these people and know the owners of the restaurant. That's important. But the waiter comes over to me and I start ordering and the guy's like, ugh.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like just having an awful day.
Miserable to be there.
And he's like, I'm like, how are you doing? And he's like, not good, dude. Like, this place is awful. This place
He was super
sucks.
honest.
Yeah, he was. And I was like, dude, I'm sorry to hear that. And, you know, just trying to move past it. Like, I want it over and I just want to order.
That's so weird that you'd be working for an establishment and you'd badmouth it
Sure.
as you're there getting paid by the
Right.
establishment. Funny enough, this happened pretty recently. We were at a place and they were serving tacos and I thought they were amazing. And so I said to the waitress, and honestly, I don't know why, because she didn't make them, but just to let her know, maybe she could deliver the message. I go, these are amazing tacos. And she's like, oh, really? Well, I'm from LA, so I know better tacos. I'm like, are you kidding me? Okay. Well, that's not good. So, bad attitude.
Right. Well, the attitude persisted, and so we gave him our order. He comes back with the drinks, and he's still complaining about the establishment.
Wow.
And throughout the entire meal, and there was a point where I was like, hey, man, like, you know, we love this place. I'm sorry to hear you're having such a bad time, but, you know, maybe don't tell us that. And he didn't even stop then. Like, he just kept on grumbling and throughout the meal. So on the way out, I saw the owner. I walked over there, and I just informed the owner about my experience.
Narc'd on him
that night.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, come on. I feel like they needed to know. I mean,
think
you don't want that going around your restaurant.
You gave the guy a heads up. Like, in a way, you told him, like, hey, I'm sorry you feel that way, but we like it here.
Right.
And then he continued.
Yeah, he
At
kept
that
going.
point, it's like, what do you do? Like, you're going to come back because you enjoy that restaurant.
There has to be some like natural correction in
Right.
society.
Mm-hmm.
That kid has like no shot if he doesn't get corrected. Like,
Right.
what are you supposed to do? Like, he needs to know what he's doing is wrong.
Right. He needs the consequence.
And so in a way, you did a favor for him.
yeah, I
think.
suppose so, because the next time I went, he no longer works there. I've been informed.
Yeah, I mean, it's
so-
sad. You don't want to see that happen, but
he
especially
learned.
yeah, if you know the people and
Right.
this guy's bad mouthing the restaurant, it's like,
Sure.
how do you let that slide?
Absolutely.
I wonder if Josh's ex-girlfriend learned her lesson about sneaking food into the movie theater.
Well, so
well.
Josh is the same guy, and I don't agree with what he did there, but this is the same guy. There are rules at the movie theater that you can't sneak things in. His girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, now
Right.
had a habit of doing this and didn't care about the rules. You walked her right into the line where they were checking bags. She got caught,
Yep.
and you laughed about
Natural
it.
consequence.
Josh the narc.
Exactly
Yeah,
the
he's
same
definitely
thing.
a narc.
Yep.
You care about law and order, right?
For sure, there needs to be order. Otherwise, what are we doing?
I think in this case, I got to be on Josh's side with that.
With the movie, I'm not on his side.
No.
But with this
What?
case, yeah, I am.
Yeah, because it shouldn't be that way. And and I kind of regret not saying something about the bad attitude waitress, but I was like, I'm not going to get involved because I do worry about that. It's like, do I want to be the one who tells on someone? Like, do you need that kind of drama in your life?
Right.
I didn't have a personal connection to that restaurant, though. Yes, and it's just her opinion. Dumb place to share your
And
opinion.
I'm sure she stopped after she said what she said. She didn't continue to say how horrible are those tacos, right?
Right, yeah. Go to this other place down the
Right,
street.
exactly.
Yes, producer Heather.
I am not on Josh's side at all. It's like, mind your business, Josh. Just go eat your meal and enjoy it and mind your business.
No, that guy made it Josh's business.
I couldn't enjoy
by
my
complaining.
meal. Yeah.
I'm with you, Josh. This is the TJ Show. The TJ Show is sponsored by Prize Picks. You want to play daily fantasy sports and it just seems so complicated? Well, what about Prize Picks for daily fantasy sports?
Prize Picks is cool because it's just you picking against stat projections, more or less on 2 to 6 players' stats. Everything from basketball finals, keep an eye out for star players for boosted payouts, and you can even use esports to add to your entries now.
Yeah, every Wednesday and Saturday in June, if your esport lineup doesn't win, you'll get your entry fee back. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what makes Prize Picks the #1 fantasy sports app. PrizePicks.com. Download the app today and use code TJShow for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code TJShow on Prize Picks for a deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less, it's that easy. Must be present in certain states. Visit PrizePicks.com for restrictions and details. PrizePicks.com. Have I said it enough?
PrizePicks.com.
You got me. This edition of the TJ Show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Yeah, the year is going by quite quickly.
Bro, I blinked and it's gone.
Halfway there. And sometimes it's hard to take inventory on how we're doing.
Yeah.
And I think one of the ways to truly assess our progress is by talking to someone else about it. Therapists have made me realize, actually, maybe I'm further along than I think. Because our mind can play tricks on us.
That's right.
And we've got to talk through this kind of a thing. Whether you're celebrating big wins, small wins, whatever it is, knowing that you're winning or if you're not, how to change that is so valuable.
A win is a win, and therapy is a win.
I agree with you. If you've ever considered it, go to betterhelp.com/TJ. That's betterhelp.com/TJ. You fill out the questionnaire, you get linked up with a licensed therapist. If for some reason it's not a fit, you can switch therapists anytime, no additional fee. Take a moment, visit betterhelp.com/TJ today to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp, HELP.com/TJ. betterhelp.com/TJ. This is the TJ Show, and look, it's Thursday, June 20th, 2024. It's good to see you, J-Bo.
Good to see you, TJ.
It's good to see you, Producer Kenny.
Same, TJ.
I feel bad. I see camera guy Josh hobbling around on crutches. Are you doing okay?
Yeah, I'm all right.
What'd you do, bar fight?
I tore my calf.
I'm sorry. I'm laughing because Heather's laughing. And I don't know why Heather thinks it's so
so
funny.
insensitive.
Well, no, I feel bad for the guy. I want him to be well, and it's like, I want to help. Can I do anything to help?
No, just have a good show.
Oh, gosh. Okay, Eeyore.
Heather, why are you laughing? Because you're making it very uncomfortable for me now.
Well, I think it's because I'm uncomfortable. I tend to laugh in uncomfortable situations.
You feel bad that he's struggling, and so you don't know what to do, so you just start laughing.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell him that I feel bad for him. That would be weird, right?
No, that would be kind. That's
Yeah.
what friends do, Heather.
I think once you start to have a heart, you go in that direction, right, J-Bo? Isn't
Yeah,
that?
usually.
You don't laugh. You do the opposite. You go,
Yeah.
man, I'm sorry for what you're going through. But see, it really matters who you're hanging around, because I'm hanging around producer Heather.
She's rubbing off on you, man.
She's giving me the giggles, and it's like, come on, I don't think it's funny that you're hurt, Josh.
Sure.
I mean, do you need help with something? Can I help you?
No, I'm fine. I'm still alive. It's just my leg hurts a little
Are
bit.
you
so-
annoyed when people are like coming to your attention? Does that bother you?
Yeah, it does.
Because
It's
I
like,
hear
it's okay.
I was overhearing what was going on in the hallway, and everyone's like, "Oh, Josh, are you okay?" And your answer is very gracious, like, "I'm totally fine.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be." So you're just trying to diffuse everyone focusing on your injury.
Sure, just my leg hurts a little bit. It's all good.
And so now the first thing we're doing is focusing on Josh's injury
Yep.
on the radio to all of the 60-plus cities that we're on it. So sorry, Josh.
The man is on crutches. His leg more than just hurts. So,
Right.
he downplays it a lot, though.
I know. I just want you to get better. Yes, Kenny.
Josh, my offer of piggybacks are still on the table. I'm happy to carry you around wherever you want to go, buddy.
Great, thanks.
Josh is a very heavy, muscle. He's a piece of meat. You sure you want to get him on your back?
I can handle it. I do anything for my buddy Josh.
Kenny's gonna need crutches in a minute.
I do feel bad for our camera guy, Josh. I'm overhearing his life now that he's injured. And you're watching more TV than ever before, more time in front of the screen, less at the gym.
Yep.
Because he injured himself. See, you're working out all the time. Look at what you did to yourself.
Boom. Now nothing at the gym. I don't know what to do with myself.
And so get this, J-Bo.
What's up?
His wife, Ann, felt so bad for him. Josh has been asking Ann to watch the movie Sing 2 with him.
Yeah, I remember
for
him begging about that.
years. I think you may remember we even had Ann on the radio, and I made I was negotiating for you. I was like, please watch this
Yes.
movie.
Yep.
It's one of the greatest movies that I've seen in recent years. I really loved it. I don't know why I love it so much, but I love it.
TJ calls it a masterpiece.
I did use those words.
I don't know about that, but it is good.
I cried during the movie, okay? I was watching it with my kids. We loved it. I mean,
hear you.
You can only hope for a movie that's just great for the whole family. Everyone enjoys it, but it's a tougher sell for Josh because he just wants to watch it with his wife, Ann. But I absolutely think everyone should have to see this movie. This should be like a part of school. You know how they make you watch certain movies? Sing 2. It's just wonderful. It's so much fun. So she feels so bad for you now. She actually agreed to watch it yesterday.
Finally.
Come on, give me the review. What did she think?
Amazing.
Yes,
that is a masterpiece.
It is.
Nothing short of it. That is one of the
Stop it,
best
Josh.
movies in existence right now.
Absolutely.
You have to see it.
When, what's his name? Bono Lion, is that what he is?
He plays a lion, yeah.
What, Kenny, you didn't see it?
I've
Are you
never seen Sing 1 nor Sing 2.
What is your
I don't
problem?
plan to either.
What is your
Kenny
problem?
watches all these movies and TV, and you haven't seen not 1 nor 2?
No.
You want to fight, bro?
Yeah, come on. Bring it.
I think I wouldn't get into many fights, but this is something that might be worth fighting over. Take a break from one of your 36 Marvel movies and watch this movie that we
Hey,
are
watch
saying
your
is
mouth
great.
now.
Yeah.
Every Marvel movie.
Thank you,
Come
Jay.
on, you've
Have
seen
some
it.
respect.
I know, but you know
I
what-
have seen Sing 2. It is
it's
great.
so good. What else are you watching?
Well, I'm watching The Office because I love The Office.
Okay, good. Can't catch up on that enough.
You know, it's funny, in that show, Conan O'Brien walks through the background in New York City, and one of the main characters misses him because he's such a big fan. But I was thinking, can Conan O'Brien really just walk down the street? Isn't he so famous that people come up to him all the time and, bug him?
Isn't that a scripted scene?
Yeah, I mean, it's a scripted scene, but it's portraying real life. And so I was wondering, is Conan,
Can
is
he
there
walk
a
through?
shot of seeing Conan O'Brien walk down the street? Do famous people actually walk down the street?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I think
Big
so,
floats.
yeah. I was at a barbecue spot in Nashville playing trivia with my friends, and Willie Nelson was there. hanging, chilling.
Because most people are just normal, and they're not going to like accost them with asking for a photo. A great example of that is Chappelle. Not too long ago when I was in New York, he was actually staying in the same hotel that I was staying at. I had my dog Luna with me, and I saw him walking in. I was like, "Hey, Dave, fan of your work." And he was like, "Thanks, man."
Your best friends.
But then what was even funnier about that is like 10 minutes later, he was down the street eating ice cream, just outside of an ice cream shop, just talking to people, hanging out. It was totally normal.
Are you serious?
Because people, it's not what you expect where you see these screaming fans and that.
Yeah.
It's like they're just normal people. Another great example of that is my cousin worked at a bagel store, and Bill Murray just went to this bagel store. Yeah. And she was like, "Oh yeah, he's just like one of the regulars. Everybody just sees him and acknowledges him."
That's wild. My mom and my dad were in California. This is years ago, and they were leaving, I think, like a bowling alley. I can't remember. And they ran into Jamie Foxx. Took a photo with him and everything. Yeah. Took a photo with Jamie Foxx.
That's great. I love it. Yeah, super cool. So the answer is yes. Josh.
Why doesn't this happen to me? I have what?
Well, you stay in one area your whole life.
Josh.
This
you
is
need to travel.
crazy.
Got to get around the world. What a cool story. If you're a treasure hunter like me, meaning you just hope you stumble across treasure one day, you're going to love this. There's a vase that was purchased for $3.99, as in $3.99 at a Maryland thrift store.
Short of $4.
Turned out to be an ancient artifact. Listen to this story. I love stories like this. There's a woman named Anna. She said she was shopping at a thrift store. Her attention was grabbed by an unusual looking vase. She said it looked oldish, but I thought maybe like 20 or 30 years old. And maybe some kind of a tourist reproduction, so she brought it home. Fast forward, she's visiting Mexico on a work trip. And she noticed some items on display at the Museum of Anthropology, and it shared a remarkable resemblance to the vase that she purchased for $3.99 in Maryland. She speaks with a museum official who recommends she contacts the Mexican embassy when she returned home. I'd start to get nervous at that point. I'd be like, "Oh no, what did I do?" Even though I know I didn't do anything wrong, but it was pretty and I bought it. The item was identified as a Mayan artifact dating from 200 to 800, as in the year, like 200 to 800. They wound up returning the vase to the Mexican ambassador, and it was all in a ceremony held at the Cultural Institute of Mexico. The vase was given back to Mexico. And she says she's thrilled to have played a part in its story. "I would like it to go back to its rightful place, to where it belongs," which I think is so nice.
Yeah,
like,
I think
how
that's
kind.
Yeah, I love that.
You know, she
Very
seemingly,
honorable.
she didn't say anything like, "Oh, I want a bunch of money for
No,
it. I
she's
want
like,
to,
here
you go.
it's yours."
It belongs with you." She says, "I also want it out of my home because I have 3 little boys, and I was petrified that after 2,000 years, I'd be the one to wreck it."
Can you imagine?
Hear that,
After
yeah.
all these years, it's made it through all these different hands, and she wrecks it.
I can't even keep a pen on my counter without it being in 2 pieces. I came home the other day, my pen was ripped in half. I'm like, I've had that pen for months. It's been fine. Yeah, it's like, how did it get ripped in half?
Now,
Kids.
I wish the story included how that vase ended up at a thrift store, because I wonder who found it, who bought it, who took it, like how did it end up there?
Yeah, it is so weird. Like, how does it last that many years? I would love to know the story of that vase. Was it stolen at some point in recent history?
Right.
And then somebody just unloaded it. They didn't want it anymore and they dropped it off. I mean, who knows? We could think about that all day long.
Somebody's passed away and their relatives are cleaning out their home and they're like, look at this junk, and they take it to the thrift store.
Oh, yeah, and it seems to happen way more often than you'd think. So the vase is going to wind up at a Mexican museum, so that's all taken care of. There was another thrift store vase recently, purchased again for $3.99 from a Goodwill store in Virginia. And that was auctioned off last year for over $107,000.
Wow.
And it was found to be designed by Carlo Scarpa, a famed Italian company in Venini in 1942.
What a come up. You purchased it for like short of $4 and $107,000. That's a nice come up.
It's unbelievable. And it's cool that, like, I guess you could just take the money, right? Because if you buy it, it's weird.
I'm assuming it belongs to you if you're auctioning it off, yeah.
I'm not giving up. I think we should all keep looking for treasure. You want to go to the Goodwill store with me after the show?
I would love to.
Yeah,
Every
who
time
knows?
I go, though, I never find anything amazing.
I know, but we got to keep trying. Got to be persistent.
What's good, everybody? It's Gerard Hector, the host and executive producer of the True Hoop Podcast. You guys can catch me and the godfather of basketball player development, Coach David Thorpe, every Monday and Thursday talking all things NBA.
It starts with Shea. Jalen Williamson, terrific. And a great coach. It starts with Shea. He's carrying a team. He's Michael Jordan right now.
Search for the True Hoop Podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Rate, review, subscribe. Catch us every Monday and Thursday. Take care.
This is the TJ Show, our news. It sounds different around here. Kenny reads through every story he can find, and then he brings us the most interesting ones. Kenny, what's happening on the planet today?
You know, we've previously talked about how there are many communities that are introducing laws about leaf blowers because they're so loud and disturbing to neighbors.
Oh, yeah, I got in a lot of trouble because my opinion on that is like, who needs to blow the leaves away? Let the wind do it, and then let it like mulch into the ground. And people said I was nuts for saying that. But it's also very annoying for your neighbors. And you imagine like feeling all peaceful in your house and then you got your neighbor who has to blow their leaves in a different direction.
Yeah, especially at like 7 o'clock in the morning. Like, who does that?
Yeah. Well, engineering students at Johns Hopkins University were given a challenge: redesign the leaf blower to be as powerful, but much quieter. Now, not only did they succeed, they exceeded expectations. Their leaf blower reduces overall noise by nearly 40%.
Wow, that's impressive.
Good job.
So rather than being like, it's
something like that. Although what they're doing too, I guess part of this design also diminishes the most irritating sound frequencies. So maybe instead of it's like actually it sounds completely different, like the note.
Whoa.
Yeah, there you go.
Like a nice little hum.
I think that's what it is.
It almost is soothing.
The design.
You can assume they got like an A+ on their assignment then.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Not only that, I think they're going to be making a lot of money. The design is patent pending. Stanley Black & Decker plans to start selling these leaf blowers within the next 2 years.
Look at that.
Let's go.
For the low price of $14,000.
Right. Until somebody else makes them, and then the price starts coming down.
Yeah.
And we should say that this isn't like a full leaf blower. It's actually an attachment to your current leaf blower. They say it acts like a silencer does on a gun.
Whoa.
Ooh.
That's
They
actually
say-
amazing news. So you don't even have to buy a new one.
Yeah, so it's going to be
Potentially.
$14,000. It could be like just $1,400.
Or 14.
Yeah.
And then I'm in.
Attachment?
Yep.
It's nice.
Yeah, they say it's the difference between hearing a high-pitched whistle and a sound more akin to wind noise.
And maybe I'll become pro leaf blower after this. Kenny, what else do you have?
Can you really make money on social media?
You hear that you can.
I
mean,
hear and I see.
There are people who are making millions of dollars.
Sure. Is that the exception to the rule, or is that the rule?
Yes, I would say yes, that is.
Yeah, so the Wall Street Journal is providing a little bit of a reality check. Now, they're referencing an earlier study done by Goldman Sachs that says about 50 million people are making some kind of money from their social media post. However, this new research from marketing agency NeoReach said that 48%, so almost half, made less than $15,000 a year. So that's the majority of social media influencers.
Yeah, it's interesting. This question finds me a lot, I think, because of the kind of work that we do. I have a lot of people, often in my life, who will say, hey, I want to start a YouTube channel or I want to start a podcast. And I always tell them, I'm like, get your content creation ability right first. Build up that foundation. There's a quote from Steve Martin that says, people always ask, like, where do I get an agent? Where do I get my headshots? And he says, well, is your work good? Are you good? Yeah. And if you can work on that first, then there will be a place for wherever your content is. But if without that foundation, it just all crumbles and it falls apart. It's hard to keep up with it.
Because it's built on something that's not solid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The eMarketer predicts that the social media creators will make about $13.7 billion altogether this upcoming year, 59% of that from brand sponsorships. They did look into one specific influencer. His name is Clint Brantley. He has 400,000 followers on TikTok, and he averages 100,000 views per post. He made $58,000 last year.
Listen, it's a great living to be able to do art, right?
And there's some people who do it just for like a side income.
Sure.
You know? So.
Yeah, if there's like a niche, there's a dentist who has great information about teeth. If you can make it sound good, get the right people to help you present it, sure.
They say just 13% of social media influencers made more than $100,000 in a year.
Kenny, what else do you have?
Louisiana has become the first state in the country to require that the 10 Commandments be displayed in public, elementary, high school, and state-funded universities.
You know, I saw this story. It definitely captured my attention. And what it made me think of was when I think back to my childhood, whenever there was anything like that was forced on me, I would reject it. But going into now my adult life, when I called on God and experienced it for myself, That is what showed me what I believe to be the truth. And so, I know there's a lot of controversy around this and people are fighting about, should you put that in the school? Should you not? I don't know if it'll be effective. I would just recommend to someone, if you want my little theology course, I would say, just pray and say, hey, God, I want to know more about you. I mean, there's a reason why this subject has been the center of our existence for as long as humans have been on this earth. It's got to be at least fascinating to even the slightly curious person.
Yeah, I think anything that is forced on anyone, that person would be really easy to like push it away and not want it. Like you put on jeans, they don't fit. You're trying to force them on. It's uncomfortable. But then when you finally get a pair of jeans that fit and you're like, you maybe lose a couple pounds or whatever, things fit right. So it's the willingness to explore a relationship with God and to get to know Jesus, not it being forced on you. And that's speaking from someone myself who at one point it was forced on me and I was just like, I don't want this. And now I found it and I'm okay with it, but it was my willingness to do so.
It was your choice, and also you experiencing things where you're
Correct.
like, whoa, okay, I see this is way less boring than school made it seem at one point. There's something really, for me, it's why I'm so excited to live every day. And so that's my encouragement to you. If you're curious or offended by it or you think it's so weird, try that. Like, what's the worst that happens? Say, God, I'm curious, I want to know. Just say it out loud, pray it, and watch what happens. It's pretty amazing.
Now, as far as this story goes, I do think, my personal opinion, it's something that's being forced. I don't know how that's going to be received by people. So
yeah, well, everyone's fighting about everything, so add it to the list.
Yeah, the governor signed it into law, but it is expected to be challenged in court by the American Civil Liberties Union.
Kenny, what else do you have?
Dozens of bottles of cherries and berries and possibly other fruits were found in storage pits uncovered in the cellar of the mansion of George Washington. On his home in the Potomac River, on the banks of the Potomac River. Yeah, they were doing an archaeological dig connected to a restoration project, and they found these bottles of what looked like perfectly preserved cherries.
Can you eat them still?
That much is unclear, and I don't think anybody's lining up to be the taste tester in that situation.
That's amazing.
not it. Yeah, not doing that.
What a cool story, and what an advertisement for canning. Right? And that's something that I think about all the time. I have people who I know, they have gardens and they will give me like a little strawberry jam from 2020. It's like, well, really? It's okay to eat now? And it's delicious. It's amazing.
One thing that is cool is the U.S. Department of Agriculture is now getting involved after this discovery. They're examining 50 of the cherry pits that were recovered from these bottles. They're going to plant them to see if they grow.
Whoa, could you imagine the marketing on that?
Man, those
George
cherries
Washington's
cost $100. Just to get a bag of cherries is going to cost you $100.
I wonder if it would like grow a different kind of plant than we're used to today.
Yeah, maybe the cherries evolved in the last 250 years.
Like, would it be a step back to when cherries were good, like they were supposed to be?
You know what I'm saying? A super cherry.
Yeah. Kenny, what else do you have?
Tom Brady is going to be in the broadcast booth for the upcoming NFL season, and it appears he's a little nervous about it.
Don't believe it.
Well, he kind of said he was.
Nah, I don't believe it.
Okay.
How do you know this man isn't nervous?
The guy is such a master of his craft. The thing that made him
On
so
the
special.
field.
Sure, he constantly took his game to the next level, the next level, the next level. Don't you think he's doing the same thing as a broadcaster?
Well, he hasn't started yet.
I know, but he's been out of the field for what, over a year? And he's been training and talking to broadcasters.
We'll see. Some people make great players and just horrible analysts.
I don't know. I'm betting on Tom. I think he's going to be the GOAT of broadcasters.
Okay, relax, relax.
I'm telling you.
It turns out he was just as critical as he was of his playing days as he seems to be as he's preparing to be a broadcaster. He was on with Colin Cowherd on Fox Sports 1, and Colin asked him if he's been watching back the practice games he's been calling with play-by-play announcer Kevin Burkhardt, who he's going to be working with for the upcoming season. And Brady said yes, and I think there's so much room for improvement. And he went on to say there were times when he'd watch films of his games as a player, and he felt like he did everything wrong and questioned why anyone would let him play quarterback in the NFL. I think he's just very critical of himself. He wants to do the best, and I think that's probably where it's coming from, but he's never done this kind of thing before.
I think he's going to be so good at this for a lot of reasons. Not only the experience he has on the field, but just the love he has for the game. I think that's going to come through in his announcing, and it's going to be a really special treat.
Yeah, he signed a 10-year, $375 million deal with Fox.
Underpaid.
And he went on to say...
Oh, my gosh. Stop. Just stop right now. Just stop.
I mean, come on. At least pay the guy what he's worth.
Stop it.
He went on to say, I don't want to let the people at Fox here down, and I don't want to let the great NFL fans down either. He was in the broadcast booth for the UFL championship over the weekend. He was more of a guest than an actual analyst, but that was his first time he was in a Fox broadcast booth, so people got a little bit of a preview, although he was booed by the fans in St. Louis who haven't gotten over Spygate.
Please. They're going to love him eventually. Everyone loves Tom
St.
eventually.
Louis, stand up.
But also, who gets a 10-year deal? Have you heard of any announcers getting a 10-year deal? Is that common?
It's uncommon even for a player to get a 10-year deal.
Yeah, they're so confident in how great he's going to be.
I don't know if it's not common or not. I've never heard it put out there like that.
Yeah, 10 years.
His business is being put out there like that.
Good for him. I'm happy for him. Kenny, what else you got?
How do you eat a kiwi?
It's so annoying. I love the taste of it, but I usually take off the outside, the skin, and then I cut off the ends, and then I do little slices.
Jabo, how about you?
I eat the whole thing. I just bite into it.
Jabo's right. You're
fuzz?
wrong, TJ.
The fuzz?
Yeah, since I was a kid. I do mango the same way.
You eat the outside of the mango?
Yeah, of course. I was born and lived in Puerto Rico for a while until I moved to the States. And I remember as a kid walking down the street and pulling a mango off a tree and you just eat it. You don't have a knife right there to start peeling it.
Really?
So I've always eaten a mango, just skin and everything, kiwi the same way.
There's something that happens to me when I eat a mango. My lips start going a little numb.
Oh, that's weird.
But it's only if I don't peel it properly. So I don't know what that's all about.
Yeah, I never experienced that.
A doctor who calls himself the stomach doc says if you eat a kiwi with the skin on, you actually get 50% more fiber and some more vitamins and nutrients.
How about that?
He went on to say, wash it really well because you might be able to take off some of those little fuzzy things. And it's best to eat them when they're nice and soft. They're easier to eat that way. And also slicing them into little discs makes it a little bit more manageable. And the last thing he mentioned was that sun gold kiwis have a smoother surface. So those might be easier for you as well.
Brought to you by Sun Gold. Kenny, thank you for keeping us somewhat informed.
That's what's happening.
A few moments ago on the radio, we were hearing our camera guy Josh share an experience he had at a restaurant. The waiter had such a bad attitude that he actually told on the waiter to the restaurant owners, wound up getting the guy fired. And if you missed that, by the way, you can hear it on our podcast. Just search for the TJ Show podcast. It'll be up there after the show. But this reminded Heather of something.
Yeah, there's these things. There's actually a Reddit feed. It's like, am I the jerk? I'll use that term for the radio. So it's these stories about like, am I the jerk for doing this? Am I the jerk in that situation? In this situation with Josh, I think he was the jerk for getting the guy fired, but that's just me.
Well, I didn't think that, just for the record. But you
I
could
didn't
hear
think that either.
You could hear the whole discussion on our podcast. So yeah, you got a bunch of scenarios?
Yeah,
All
so
right.
I went through the feed and picked out some of the best ones.
Okay, let's hear 'em.
All right, so the first one. This woman, she got a cruise for graduation from her parents. It was a gift, right? So they went on the cruise. You know how on cruises you go on like these excursions on the islands and stuff, so you leave the boat for a little while and then you have to go back at a certain time to get back on the boat and go
Right.
to the next thing.
Yeah.
So they went on one of these excursions and the parents were just taking way too long. The girl was just like, hey, we gotta go. We gotta get back to the boat. It's gonna leave us. It's gonna leave us. They wouldn't leave, so she was like, hey, I'm gonna go back because I don't want to miss the boat. And the parents ended up being late, missed the boat, had to take a flight from whatever island they were on to the next island because they missed the boat and then the boat had
that's
to pick them
funny.
up there. So is this woman, the daughter, the jerk for leaving her parents on that island because she didn't want to miss the boat?
J-Bo?
No.
No.
She's not the jerk because she told them plenty of times, like, hey, we're going to be late. They're going to leave us. And I've been on a cruise ship before, and they tell you when you get to the island, hey, we're leaving at this time. If you are late, we are leaving without you.
Yeah, and the kicker is the parents were mad at her for not holding the boat there. They were like, why didn't you hold up the boat for us?
There's no way.
Exactly.
I could picture my dad doing that to me.
driving the boat?
They'll leave when I get to the boat.
Exactly.
Okay? Yeah, I think, no, she is not the jerk.
I agree. I think the parents are the jerks in this situation.
Oh, these are
am I
fun.
right?
Give me another one.
All right, so there's another one. So this one is, am I the jerk? For my roommate was shocked when I brought up rent when she told me her boyfriend would stay with us for 6 weeks. So how are we going to split rent between the three of us? And the other roommate with the boyfriend was like, what do you mean split rent? He's only staying for 6 weeks.
Oh, wow,
And
that's a good question.
Then she was like, well, he's going to be using our water. He's going to be eating our food. How are we going to split this up? So who in that situation is the jerk? The one asking for the rent or the one refusing to give rent for the boyfriend staying for 6 weeks?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I would just ask for money for the utilities and for food. The rent's going to get paid regardless. But in this situation, I would say the person who's bringing the boyfriend into the situation and thinking like, oh, he doesn't pay anything is a jerk.
Yeah.
'Cause I think you're not being mindful.
I think the person should acknowledge it before the other roommate has to say something about it. And there's got to be some move to be like, oh, he's staying, here's what we're going to do. And at least offer something.
Yeah,
So,
see, if as the girlfriend, I would pay whatever the other roommate wanted, you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't expect my boyfriend to pay, I wouldn't expect the roommate to add more money in, I would just pay.
These are fun.
But, yeah.
Being judgmental. Wow. Yeah, what an interesting little Reddit. Okay, cool. Well, I'm glad that reminded you of Josh.
It did, yeah.
Thank you for sharing those. And no, definitely on the side of the cruise ship lady.
Yeah, for sure.
You got to get on the boat, right?
That's right.
You don't want to be left on a random
Get left
island.
behind.
This is a fun idea. There's a local news outlet out of Cleveland. They have a regular segment called Verify, where reporters attempt to verify claims that are being made online. I guess fake news is a popular subject to tackle these days, right?
Yeah.
So they're trying to do something about it. And they recently dug into a question asked on Reddit where a user asked, is it really better to keep your thermostat on one temperature rather than programming it to change based on the time of day? People are trying to save money, and obviously it costs a lot of money to cool your house. As your dad knows, by the way, Kenny.
Sure, yeah, he's in the heating and air conditioning business.
Yeah, actually, you did an interview with him about like the best practices for the summertime. Can you pull that up?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great. So in this study that they did, the investigation, they checked with the U.S. Department of Energy and found that you can save as much as 10% on heating and cooling by adjusting your temperature on your thermostat back 7 to 10 degrees Fahrenheit from its normal setting, excuse me, for just 8 hours a day. They go on to say that a programmable thermostat allows you to automatically adjust temperatures by day and time of day, so your settings are where you want them while you're at home, and saving you money when you're not. Well, it seems pretty obvious, right?
Right. Yeah.
But, there's a lot of money being spent that we're not using, where we're just like, not home. Not that I want to bring my wife into it, but sometimes we have a little debate about whether or not she should turn the thermostat up when she leaves the house because no one's in the house.
Yeah.
Except for a dog who doesn't care.
I mean, you want it to be comfortable enough for the dog, because the dog, you don't want to come home and your dogs are like laying on the floor like, help me, it's so hot. But usually when you leave the house, it's a good practice to raise up the air conditioning.
J-Bo, in your well-seasoned animal opinion, do you think the difference between 72 and 74 will make a big difference for for senior dog Luna? Right.
She's not going to care.
That's all I'm asking for. I'm not
I
even
got you.
asking for 8 to 10 degrees. I'm saying go with 2.
Yeah,
Make it a little bit
2,
higher.
4,
So apparently it does make a difference. And 7 to 10. Okay. So maybe I'm not going to make a huge difference, but something. Now, Kenny, you talked to your dad who does these HVAC systems. And I remember he had a good answer, although I don't remember what it was.
What do you set the thermostat at?
For summer, at 74 degrees.
Ah, that's right. That's why I set mine to 74.
There you go.
We're always debating between 72 and 74.
The key is to run the unit in the summer consistently and not on and off quickly so that you do remove humidity from the air.
Your dad has such authority when he's talking about air conditioning.
Yeah, you better believe it. I've been in this business for longer than you've been alive.
Which, believe it or not, is more uncomfortable than even the temperature.
Yeah.
That is, of course, unless you're not there, then you could afford to save energy by setting it back to temperatures like in the winter, say 65 degrees. And in the summer, you would set it up to like, say, 78 degrees. That will allow the house not to get to an extreme.
78 sounds pretty extreme to me.
But you're not there.
That's true.
So, yeah, it's extreme for you if you're there. But if you're not, and you know when you'll be back, you could set your thermostat to turn on a half hour before you're scheduled to arrive.
If you have a smart thermostat, yeah.
It's an air conditioner's son.
At which it would take more energy to bring it back into your comfort zone instead of a manageable recovery time. You understand?
See, I think this is good. I think.
Now, you didn't say yes, you understand.
No, I don't understand.
They're going to appreciate that we have a heating and air conditioning expert at our disposal. So thank you, Daddy. I appreciate you taking the time to do this.
Now, am I on the air right now?
Now you are.
Kenny, thank you for doing that interview. I'm glad to hear it again.
Yeah.
Good reminder. We all want to save some money, don't we?
Yes,
Yeah,
we
you
do.
better believe it.
I'm so grateful for Pizza Hut. I was feeling so nauseous in my car about 6 months ago. I had an emergency. And I ran into a Pizza Hut and I looked at the guy in the eyes who was behind the counter. I said, do you mind if I use the bathroom? And he just knew. Didn't matter if I bought something or not. I was a man who needed to use that bathroom. And so I will forever be grateful to Pizza Hut for that alone. Never mind the pizza.
I would have never asked.
Yeah,
Good for you, but yeah, he saved the day.
It was a risky move, J-Bo, because with that extra time, it could have been a much different ending, but it turned out it was totally fine. I got there.
My family and I were road tripping from North Carolina up north, and when you have kids in the car, you want to find something that's affordable and just like hot and ready.
Mm-hmm.
And so I ordered Pizza Hut. We just swung by, picked up some pizzas, and we all ate in the car. So they saved my day too.
Oh, there's so many rescue stories, and those are just two of them. I mean,
Yep.
think about how many
Save the day.
over the years. But they have been around for a while, and the reason why I'm bringing them up, I saw this headline, Pizza Hut is bringing back their nostalgic reading rewards program. Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
I vaguely remember there was something when I was a kid, they would like reward you if you read a certain number of books, and you actually got free pizzas for reading?
Yeah, you like read a certain amount of books and then a month, and then you turn in the list of books that you've read, and the teacher has to make sure that you read them all. You take the Pizza Hut and you get your free pizza, personal pan pizza. Then you do it again the next month.
I think it's amazing, and it's so good to see this. They launched this back in 1984 to empower parents and teachers, all to incentivize kids to read more. And is there ever a time where we need kids to be reading more? I mean, all of us need to be reading more.
Right.
But we've heard countless stories, even here, where we've had some of our listeners, now friends of the show, call in and say, I can't even get my kid to want to open a book.
Yeah.
They're so stuck on this screen. So I think it's great that they're doing this. This year's incentive program, here's how it works. You set a monthly reading goal, and when you meet the goal, you get a reading award certificate that's good for a free one-topping personal pan pizza.
Let's go.
My daughter, Charlie. Perfect.
Yep.
This will be great. She loves pizza, and she'll do it. It's free for both schools and parents for kids ages 4 through 12. After the summer program,
Sorry, Kenny.
they are going to do some version during the school year, too, which will run from October 1st through March 31st. I think that's great. What a cool idea.
It's a great way to get kids reading.
Absolutely. And there's a limit to the pizza supply offer. You could read all the details about it. But they're not paying us to say this. I just want to say great job
Yeah,
to
it's
Pizza
awesome.
Hut.
It's a great incentive.
Yeah, anyone who's encouraging reading, whether it's locally or on a national level, like we really need to be encouraging our kids to read more. I see it even in my own home. My kid is a reader. She has read through all the Chronicles of Narnia. She knows it. And then all of a sudden it just kind of stopped. And we're like, what's going on? It's the iPad. And we've since taken the iPad away from her. Guess what?
She's back to reading.
More reading.
Yeah.
And I'm asking for like every recommendation I can get. And by the way, if you have books that you know your kids just love for that age range, like I have a almost 10-year-old, although she's still 9.
Yeah, she's still 9.
If you're wondering why I'm saying that, you'll hear it in the podcast later. I had to make an apology for something. Long story. I would love to know. Please send your recommendations in. You can reach us by just going to thetjshow.com. We have a little form there. You could submit it. I'm serious because it's hard sometimes to pick through all the books that are out there. There are so many. And also sometimes the books that are coming out are actually like not great for our kids, just the material they're reading.
Right.
So if you've got some tried and true classics or stories that you love, I didn't read very much as a kid, so I actually don't know the stories that are great. My wife thankfully read a lot, so
Right.
she's passed
She's a
some of
reader.
those on. You can reach us at thetjshow.com. Also, if you're catching just a small portion of our show and you want to hear more, just search for The TJ Show wherever you listen to podcasts. We'll come up there. There's a whole lot more that happens here. You might only be catching an hour or less. Maybe you're catching 10 minutes on your way to work or the way home from work. Just search for The TJ Show.